My name's Shaun Sewell. I'm a Paralympic athlete. I used to row for Great Britain. I now throw shot put and javelin. I'm also a writer. I write poetry. I perform poetry. I write plays. Yeah, disability is an interesting question. I believe if I'm to sort of break it down into what I believe disability to be is if you take a population of people maybe in a 1 mile radius, so if you've got like say 50 people or 100 people in a 1 mile radius, and there's 5 people that can't function the same as those 50 people, then to me that's maybe what you could term a disability. I believe sort of anyone that needs a sort of aid to help them function, in society, then I believe they can be seen as somebody with a disability. So maybe somebody with a mental illness might need tablets to help them function on a day-to-day basis, and yeah, I suppose that can be seen as a disability. Again, somebody in a wheelchair, somebody who uses a walking stick, a cane, these things can all be seen as disabilities. I think it's their lack of understanding somebody with a disability. So, if nobody has no knowledge of what it takes for that person to sort of function on an everyday, day-to-day basis, then I think that can cause discrimination if you don't actually know what that person's needs are. I believe it's just a limited lack of understanding. Maybe sort of patronising, maybe sort of offering help to somebody who can actually do certain things for themselves, and people assuming that they can't do certain things. Maybe sort of just a bit of patronism, maybe sort of like awkward smiles, and maybe on the odd occasion people holding my chair, but I don't get caught up in much of it, so maybe I do face a lot, but I think the person I am, I tend to not let it bother me at all. I think it's taught me to, is as much as I can sort of educate people that have a limited understanding of people with disabilities, I think if a lot more people with disabilities were encouraged to get out and do more within society, then people without disabilities are being exposed to people with disabilities, and they're actually seeing that these are normal people that can that can do normal tasks, So I think a big thing to do is education. If you educate people that have no knowledge on disability, then this is probably a way forward. I think myself personally, I see people's problems as their problems. I don't see them as my problems. So, if somebody's racist towards me, it doesn't really affect me per se, because I believe that there's more important things in life to be dealing with. I've got other problems that are more important. So, I believe if it's happening in school, the best thing to do is tell your teachers and stuff. But I mean, personally, me on the outside, if I'm to face any disability, something if I'm to face any racist comments or anything, I tend to ignore it. I think there's more important things in life to be dealing with. I think generally not too well. I believe that you have stereotypes in every walks of life, and I believe a lot of people in my society, in my cultural society, tend to reinforce these stereotypes, you know, and I think you need to look at the positives, you know. You need to look at somebody like maybe, you know, Obama in presidency, you know, and look at that, and that for me is maybe not a stereotype of an average everyday person in my cultural society. I think what drove me to become an athlete, I'm quite competitive in my everyday life anyway. And then I had an accident back in May 1999, which left me sort of, you know, which meant I had to use a wheelchair for the rest of my life. And I think I wanted to sort of, I think my main goal was fitness, you know. If I'm going to be in a wheelchair, and I believe that I've got to be as fit as possible. So I started training. I used to train a lot before my accident, weights and stuff, and then I started sort of doing the same thing after my accident. And then I was at a rowing club just doing some weights, and somebody asked me if I'd like to get involved in a program that they have called adaptive rowing, which allows people with disabilities to be able to row in rowboats, you know. And yeah, I think from then it just sort of I think when I had my accident, like I started looking at life a little bit more differently. You know, I started sort of like kind of looking at, you know, how important life is, and I think with that I started studying. I studied in university, took a degree in psychology, and I think that kind of that really broadened my horizons. You know, and I started to think more sort of analytically of the world. And that sort of inspired my writing. So I started writing back in 2004, and yeah, it's something I really enjoy. A memorable moment was in 2006. I competed in the World Rowing Championships, and I got a bronze medal. And I think that was probably the most memorable moment for me that I can think to date. I hope to continue writing. I hope to start working in school with kids and do creative writing workshops, poetry workshops. I hope to get to 2012, London 2012 Paralympics, and get a medal there if my bad shoulder fixes itself. And yeah, just do as much as I can, really keep myself active and busy. Just before I enter any battlefield, I polish my shield and I armour my build. I ready my horse and I sharpen my sword to overthrow lords as reward is my cause. Never do I pause when sinking my claws into the jaws of other spoken word artists who write spoken word lyrics in a feeble attempt to overthrow this prolific poet. For I am the one, the only Shaun Sewell I am, a prolific wordsmith and a catalyst to those who write with the intention of dethroning me. Now let's skip the pleasantries and pay close attention. By no means am I dissing, I'm just wishing that the trophy will be in my possession at the end of this session. Just give me a few more seconds along with your undivided attention to prove that I have the mass destructive weapons to be crowned king. Now some may find me obnoxious and overbearing, but I'm just believing and sharing. And on my sleeve I'm heart wearing, because if there's one thing I know is that I deserve all and more. Now I'm not looking for no handouts, and it's quite clear that I stand out, but in my heart there is no doubt that when my words search and find, my disability will be the last thing on your mind. You see, my intention at this very time is to turn the sighted blind. So when your sight has been restored, it's my talents you adore, who knows? An almighty roar may have you screaming out for more, at which point you'll understand that I have to decline and make way for who's next in line to shine, if there's a light that can shine brighter than mine. Cocky? Well, I think it's high time that I took myself from the back of the line. In this competition there was prizes worth in 10 grand. If I win, I'll understand. If I lose, I'll understand. Because win or lose, I will take back what was stolen from the black man. 40 acres a mule. Why? Because I can. Because I'm destined to, and that was God's plan.